welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we have anything at all, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature podcast. It's got some fun games, some fun conversations over there for only $5 a month that you should go over there and check out. But today we are talking about 2024's Adopted, which is directed by Chris Stokes. So Nathan, like I picked this one. So I Tubi, they have some some actually like really big movies on there
Oh
that
yeah.
we've talked about. They've got some that just like for offering for free, which I mean I appreciate them offering these types of movies out there where it gives people more opportunity to see them. Uh, my other point is going to be this streaming service is very accessible to a lot of filmmakers, like so
Mhm.
much so that I don't know how easy, and it must be pretty easy to get
Yeah.
on there, Nathan. But this one is labeled as a Tubi original movie, which means Tubi had a hand in making this movie.
Yeah, and so the thing with Tubi is they do have great movies, but they also have complete junk. And I'm not even talking about Tubi originals. I'm talking about just junk. They just have like garbage. And like they have great movies in the worst possible quality you could watch them in too. Like we've had times where Tubi movies are such low quality that we had to go somewhere else to watch them. They have no quality control. I don't think they care. I think they're all about just getting as much on there as they can, which I think feeds into the Tubi original, where anybody can make a movie and get it on Tubi.
I mean, I'm not a filmmaker by any stretch of the imagination, but there's some on there I'm like, I cannot there's no way I could do worse than some of these people.
Hmm.
Because what kind of inspired me to pick this movie, Nathan, is that if you go on like YouTube and just type in like best of Tubi movies, and it's just like
Hmm.
random movies that people find on Tubi, and it's just like some of the most outlandish stuff you'd ever see, and you're just
Yeah.
like, you can't believe like somebody would actually put this stuff into movies. So I was thinking, like for this one, I'm like thinking, okay, this is going to be something kind of trashy, something really bad that we could talk about and give us a lot of great material because I wasn't expecting this to be a good movie. And you know what, Nathan? This movie is not a good movie. It's
Yeah, no. Wow, I wasn't expecting much out of it.
so this movie starts with a trigger warning
It's
warning
like,
us that there is child abuse and gun abuse.
yes. Which is like, I mean, like it's modern filmmaking. I feel like, sometimes trigger warnings are okay before a movie it happens, but I don't know about you, Ryan. I'll just get into it. I hated this movie. Hated this movie because I thought it was disgusting. I thought this was very exploitive. At least to me, I thought this was so exploitive to a point where I just was like, this is awful filmmaking. I could not stand it.
So that's kind of what I was. This movie, like you said, like they do give a trigger warning for
Hmm.
this. And now that move, I think that would be justified. Like
Hmm.
if they were trying to go for some type of message in this
Yes.
movie, when it was like, like this was a really troubled boy
Hmm.
with child abuse, and or this is a message like keep guns away from children, that sort of thing, where it's just something where it felt like there was something in there, but that trigger warning is almost just like, oh, hey, this stuff is in there, and like where we're just putting in there because we can type of thing. Because the little boy in this movie, and his name is Dylan
Hmm.
in the movie. He's played as like this little evil sociopath genius type of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Like to where it's like very, very cartoonish. And there's some really gross stuff in here too.
Yeah, it's horrible. I guess we can just get into how gross it is, but like part of the movie is figuring out. So actually, let's not get into that. We can probably let's like start it out with the plot, right? Where Dylan, well, I guess the movie opens up with Dylan killing his older parents. That's right. It's like a montage of him going to new houses. And I mean, there's one scene where the mom's like, I'm gonna beat your ass for talking like that. And then like he ends up like burning her alive in a sauna. He pushes someone off of a railing, I believe, in one of them.
It's it's his little sister.
So there is no a movie like this, it's kind of like The Good Son, where The Good Son kind of has some kind of like intrigue to it, right? Like where it's almost like, is he really that bad? And you learn that over time. This movie instead just shows you that he's a horrible kid right from the start of the movie.
Just slaps you over the face with it right away.
Yes.
And so much so, Nathan, when I saw those clips, I thought like maybe I missed a movie.
Oh, yeah, because there is a sequel to this movie, by the way.
There is a sequel, but I was like, there's like a complete montage of him just murdering people that I'm thinking like maybe like I was like, is like did I pick something like is there another adopted or is this like a sequel to like this other like this massive franchise? Uh, but it's not. This is just that's just how it starts. And the people that he kills in the in that first opening montage is not even his birth parents. It's like these.
Mhm.
It's just this foster family that was fostering him. And anyway, a year later happens. He's gotten away with murdering this family, which the police just kind of like, oh, like he's really troubled. You know, like he really needs like a caring family.
Mhm.
Cut to we get to this one couple
Harry and
named
James.
Carrie and James, and they are just they so love each other so much. They just all they want is a child,
Mhm.
and they've been looking to adopt a child. They don't want to. They specify that they don't want a baby because that
Mhm.
sounds like a lot. Because they want somebody that they can, I guess, have connection with right away.
Yeah, and a little more independent is kind of what they said because their lives are so busy that they wanted something a little more grown up.
Yeah. And just so you know, they've this the adoption agency is like, oh, like I got like this perfect kid. He's like 10 years old. You know, he hasn't been picked for like the last year, so I think you guys
Mhm.
would be really great for him. And of course, it's the little boy Dylan. And I was kind of like wondering, Nathan, like if it was going to be kind of like you said, like they're going to kind of. I mean, we already know that he's evil.
Yes.
So I was wondering, like, I was thinking, you know, he was going to be evil right away, type of thing. But they kind of go for like the opposite, where he was driven to be evil
Yeah.
almost.
And I think that's what's most disgusting about this movie is I would have preferred it being like this evil child movie, psychopath, because it's a little more outside the realm. But instead, it goes for this angle of like, this is a good kid and he's driven to murder. And his like he's mistreated so poorly that he's driven to murder. And we find out not that far into the movie that he himself was abused by his parents. And this was the scene where I kind of decided I hate this movie was that abuse scene because it was so it was way too graphic. I thought it was just insane because he has burn marks all over his legs because in that scene the dad's telling him shut up, and he throws boiling water on him, then beats the crap out of him with a belt, and then his mom comes in and he beats up his mom too, and then his mom is like, this is all your fault, Dylan. And it's like this scene grossed me out because I was like, there's no reason this scene needed to be this extensive with this violence.
It just it takes the abuse to like such a degree where it's just like over the top, where it's
Yeah.
just you don't even it's. these parents are so evil, like they're like the personification of evil that you're just kind of like, you're almost like thinking like, how could they like, are people? I mean, I'm sure there are people like
Oh yeah.
that, but it's just it felt very unnecessary to show all this.
Yeah, but I thought what made it worse is that this movie sets it up as a mystery to find out for the rest for everybody else to find out about his abuse. I don't know if you felt this way, but the movie almost presents it like he was abused as a kid and that's why he's evil. Like his abuse is the reason why he is a murderer. That like, oh, all children of abuse are psychopaths. And it just like I know that's not what they're trying to say, but it's the way the movie presents it that it feels that way.
Well, I mean, he's got the worst luck too, because like you said, like each murder that he does, he was driven to that. You know,
Yes.
he kills his birth parents because they abused him, and then he goes to this foster family where they were not so nice to him, and they were basically threatening to beat him, and he killed all of them. And this one, like the relationship between him and his new parents is very harmonious
Oh, it's
at the
great.
beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really nice. It's really sweet. And like you said, it's not like I don't think it's a psychopath thing where he's or sociopath. He's genuinely happy to have parents that love him. Maybe he's hamming it up a little by being like, "Oh, you're so beautiful," to like his mom's like friends or whatever. But, it's fine. Like, and I think there's a good chunk of time that passes before like we get to kind of the meat of the movie. I feel like there's a decent amount of time where they're okay together.
I mean, right away he's kind of like, it's like they're like, you can call us mom and dad. He's like, okay, mom and dad. And they're like, oh, and it's just they're always like, he's so cute. And like, oh, he's so
Uh-huh.
good. And
Yeah. Which is like silly, which makes you think that he's a sociopath because he's just literally layering it on, but I don't think so.
that's what I thought at first. I thought he was kind of like playing this game. He's trying to
Mhm.
like he's pretending to be like he's like this loving kid, but I think at least the movie is going for like that he's genuinely happy.
Yeah.
But
Um, and like you said, he gets driven to it because he has a cousin that he goes over to stay with, and he has an older sister, and they play a trick on his older sister. What an insane scene where they have a fake pool of blood that Dylan's laying in, and the cousin's holding a real gun and calls in his older sister, and it's like, oh my God, I shot him. We were playing with a gun. And like it was a prank. What a what a horrifying
I,
prank.
yeah, they do the whole like it's just a prank, bro, type of thing.
Yes, yeah.
And but he has access to a loaded gun because he even says like it's not loaded. Like, where'd you get that? It's under your mom's mattress.
Yeah, and I feel like with the child abuse and the gun handling, there needed to be some type of lesson there that this is not okay because there isn't that. These kids just handle their parents' guns and find it, and it's like totally like not even mentioned like, oh, we should hide guns, or no one goes, put your gun in a gun locker or anything like that.
No, just completely irresponsible. And it's for the cousin or the kid that Dylan's been playing with. It was his idea, but he completely blamed on this was Dylan's idea,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Why did you blame it on me?" And the kid was like, "Well, because you're the cute kid, and she would have yelled at me."
Yeah,
And
which is crazy to think. You should yell at any kid that handles a gun.
and then there's there's one aspect of this movie that is also really gross. Is Dylan is obsessed with this girl
Yes.
that lives across the street, like his neighbor. There's a scene of him watching her like dress into a swimsuit and just
Hmm.
kind of leering at her. And she's like, Dylan, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I got lost.
Yes, yeah, that's right. So now there's like this sexual angle for a kid. Again, like she's like 17 or something, much, much, much older than him. So yeah, that kind of disappears for a little bit because the his cousin
Thankfully.
throws a rock at a window and blames Dylan once again. Um, and Dylan doesn't like that. So he gets the gun and he shoots his cousin, which has one of the funniest lines in the whole movie that I've been kind of quoting, where he has the gun up to his cousin's head and he goes, "This is what happens when you lie on me." There's just something about him saying that. This is what happens when you lie on me, and shoots him in the head. And, go ahead.
I, I just want to say, I mean, we try not to trash child actors
Yes.
because, and I'm not going to do that today. I don't want to sit here
Okay.
and talk about him, but I will say I've said this before. It is completely unfair that they put the entire weight of this movie on this child's shoulders because
Mm.
he's not capable of doing that.
No, yeah, that's probably the nicest way you could put that. And I guess I don't want to be mean either because yeah, he just does not have the skills. Like there's some scenes where are just really dragged down because he's just a kid. He's just a kid saying his lines. He's not really getting into it.
Well, I mean, it's just, he's trying to be like this. At first, he's trying to be like this very precocious kid, and
Hmm.
it doesn't come off genuine. And I don't think that's because of the character. I think that's just his ability. And then the other thing was the him trying to act like a complete psycho, like towards the end of the movie, which
Hmm.
is not it's not believable, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't
Yeah.
want to get too deep
No.
into his skills, but I'm just saying they
Well,
shouldn't have done that.
Well, let's put the blame on the director, and who I think the director also wrote this movie. I think the fact that you wrote this movie and you directed this kid and you allowed him to be in this, I think is just kind of awful. It just there's something about that forcing this kid to be a psychopath, forcing this kid to hold a gun at the end of the movie and basically shoot his family from the gun that he finds from his parents, which is unfortunately something that happens. That happens a lot, like a lot more than you'd want. And it's just kind of, I feel like I don't know the right word for it. It just feels wrong. That's the best way I'll put it.
Yeah, very irresponsible.
Yes, it's very irresponsible filmmaking, and I think whatever the kid does wrong, I don't want to blame him. It's all on this director writer. Which let me get their address really quickly. Let me
I
let me bring that
so
up. Let's
you could
dox them.
yeah, I could send them hate mail.
No, I'm not going to do anything like that. But I do genuinely think I like that. It's very irresponsible filmmaking as a whole. And I mean, nobody has a good performance in this movie. Everybody's bad. All the adults are bad. There is not a single good performance in this movie. Maybe the most convincing guy's the dad, but even then, he has some pretty awful lines and dialogue he has to read through.
It's a lot of people's acting in this movie is very uh hammy type of thing in a way because like they go like when they're doing like these scenes like they're like in a loving house, it's almost like they're like in like a sitcom or something like that. Where
Hmm.
it's like, wow, we're just so happy. Like it's
Hmm.
everything is so great type of thing. And
Yeah.
I it's very over the top, like with the schmaltz, with that type of stuff. And probably the part too that's like insane. They've only had this kid for I think like a couple of months at best.
Yeah.
And the parents, they just kind of look at each other like, you know what? I think it'd be a great idea if we can get another kid. Like this kid is barely adjusted
Yeah,
to
I think
this home life, and they're like, we need to add another one.
and they're painted like that's like a good choice that like oh we need to get another adopted child like there is no reasonable way that's like good to throw on the kid who's hopped from foster home gets adopted and then gets told oh well you're not good enough we need another kid. I mean like that's obviously not what they're thinking but any kid in that situation is going to instantly think like oh I guess I'm not good enough. Give him some time to be an only child, let him enjoy that life because it's very obvious once they get this little girl. And I mean, it is very obvious that they are much more caring and much more loving to the little girl.
That part is disgusting too.
Yes, it's
I
awful.
was, because I mean, at a certain point, you're almost like this. He's not justified in doing what he's doing, but
No.
it's like, but you're almost like, I mean, I understand why he's mad. Because it
Hmm.
is, like you said, it is, that kid has only been there for a couple of months. It is a very clear shift when that girl shows up, because when they bring out the new girl, and she's probably like, I think like 8 or 7 or something like that.
Hmm.
And she is immediately hostile towards Dylan too.
Yes. Yes. Like,
Like it's like I thought it was gonna be set up like, she was gonna be like she was gonna get like her comeuppance or something like that. And
mhm.
but I mean she is like mean, straight up mean to Dylan too sometimes.
Yeah, there's like the whole dinner sequence where they're serving her favorite meal, not Dylan's, and then while they're watching and they're not really hearing what they're saying, she's like being very mean, like, well, I'm like basically being like, I'm the ruler of this house now. Like you're not important in this. We get to have my favorite meals nowadays. Which, I mean, it's kid stuff, but it's still like you got this little girl coming in, and Dylan probably feels very vulnerable, and but the way the movie frames that though is wrong, and because I get that there is sibling rivalry movies, that's a very common thing, but because he was abused as a child, that means, oh, I have to go to murder now, I have to start killing, and that's when his sexual thing starts to be more where he's so attracted to this older girl that he goes over there and takes out all of his anger on her because she's like, I'm not dating you, you're 10 years old.
Yeah. Although I do want to go back there. Dylan has some of like the I was laughing really hard at one scene because when they're having like their little dinner scene, because his mom mentions that that her dream was always to be like a professional chef, and it just never worked
Yeah.
out for whatever reason. And he's like, oh, but you're such a good good chef or whatever. But then later in the movie, you know uh the little girl is like basically causing a nuisance, and the Dylan was basically just like, okay, I'm ready to say the prayer. And then, like his dad is like, well, actually, we wanted her to say a prayer because we wanted to give her a chance. And then Dylan just completely loses it. He says, "I'm not hungry," and he looks at the food and he's
Already
like, you know what?
laughing because it's so funny.
He looks at the chicken. He's like, that chicken looks dry anyway. It's like, no wonder you didn't make it as a chef.
Uh, yeah, that had me laughing. I mean, I laughed quite a bit during this movie because it's so bad. Because that writing is so like, I mean, like that chicken looks dry. It is like crazy for a kid to say. It's so funny. Um,
And
yeah,
and he swears too, and he like I'm gonna say he's like I'm not gonna put up with that shit or what. And
that's
they're like,
right.
Dylan.
I'm gonna go have a talk with him. And they're so lenient to this as well, because he kind of just goes up there, talks to him, is like, I know how you feel. And Dylan comes down, and it seems kind of genuine that Dylan's like, I was wrong last night. I really shouldn't have acted that way. But then, of course, that doesn't work out because he gets angry about this girl, and that's when he goes full psycho.
Well, there's another scene too where they're playing video games,
That's
and like
right.
the little girl is like trash talking Dylan, saying like, you suck at this game, you're awful, like just. And then Dylan lashes out, and of course that's when the mom walks in. It's like, Dylan, why you got to be nice to her?
Yeah,
And it's
she's
like
like, "Oh, it's a girl. You have to set an example to women."
they say that too. They're like, she's a girl, you have to be nice to her.
Yeah, they like say that multiple times in the movie, which I think is a very odd thing.
Uh, but like you said, they eventually it does lead to him going like full psychopath, and
Mhm.
the neighbor girl that he has a crush on is
Mhm.
like, there's something wrong, and she even goes to her mother, who she was the one that had like a hand in Dylan's adoption,
Mhm.
and she was like, what was Dylan's background like? And even her mother was like, "Eh, don't go digging, like that, just
It's
it's
not
not even
important.
worth it."
Yeah.
Which it is. It's very important what their this
Yes.
adopted child's background is, and she's able to figure out what's going on, because she's able to talk to the school, and they're like, you we're not allowed to talk about this child. You need to call the detective's office.
Hmm.
And it goes back to the detectives from the at the beginning of the movie that had kind of questioned Dylan about these murders. And at first too, like the cop seemed like, oh yeah, I remember that, you know. And then she brings up Dylan, and the cop is like, Dylan's a good kid. And then
Yep.
later he's like, I think he did it. Like in
Yeah.
all, like in the same conversation.
Yeah, because I think that the other detective, he goes like, knock, knock. I heard you talking about Dylan on the phone. Horrible delivery. And like, yeah, then he's like, I think Dylan did it. Like, it's very like a 180 type of deal. But
And
yeah,
the one of the other cops, he's the other writer of this movie too.
oh, he is. Okay, gotcha. But that leads up to Dylan holding his cousin and her mother up at gunpoint.
What's not
Oh,
his cousin, it was the neighbor.
sorry. Yeah, that's right. The mixing it up. Yeah, the neighbor and her mom at gunpoint, and with the gun that he found, and he shoots them. He shoots the mom in the head.
He kills the mother dead, and you think that he kills the girl, but she's fine and she's able to go call the cops.
Yeah.
And then Dylan, he thinks both are dead, and he goes back to his own home,
Hmm.
and it kind of, he goes and finds like his dad, and his dad's like, uh, Dylan, like, what are you doing? He's like, hey, is that a gun? He's like,
We
he's
don't
like,
own a
yep.
gun. Yeah, and so he pulls out the gun, and there's this really bad scene of like him chasing his dad around like the kitchen island with the gun.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm gonna get you," as like his
He's
dad's
doing
like
like,
hiding.
he's like, Dad, where are you? And
Yeah,
and he's able to like wrestle the gun away from Dylan, and then Dylan kicks him in the crotch, and he's like, oh,
yeah,
just
yeah, like a comedy movie. They show like close up flip to balls as he hits him.
yeah. And his dad is able to run away,
Hmm.
and everybody comes home. His dad like clocks Dylan in the head with a football helmet,
That's right. Yeah. Um,
but the cops swarm in, and they send like a whole SWAT team to take out this child.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the child is like holding everyone at gunpoint, and it's the ending of this movie. We know there's a sequel, so we know Dylan survives, but like the ending of this movie is extremely dark, where it's a shot from the outside, and the SWAT team just rolled in. Dylan's at the top of the stairs with guns, and then you just hear a ring of gunfire. So all you can think is like, okay, the police just murdered this child. They just went in and like killed this child. uh
Yeah,
Horrible.
they walk, they run in, and you see Dylan like up against the wall, like pointing his gun, and then you see like a line of SWAT guys just like all pointing their guns at him, and then they cut to like to the house, and you just hear gunshots, and it's just like credits.
Yeah. And the trigger warning shows again, actually.
It does.
um no Ryan, it's crazy to say this, but this ranks up there. I mean, we're almost 500 episodes in. It's one of the worst movies we've ever watched on this channel. I don't know if it's as bad as Wired, but I think they're equally mean-spirited. I think this movie is completely irresponsible filmmaking. Seeing a child take his parents' gun, no lesson to be learned there. He just willingly shoots people. Not only that, but the depictions of child abuse is just it's exploitive. It's like, oh, let's just film something completely horrible because that'll keep people watching. And I just think it's just wrong. This movie is completely wrong. I hated this movie.
Yeah. I mean, Wired for me was at least still bad because that was like painful to watch. It was just like
Yeah.
completely torturous, and that was actively insulting a real
Yeah.
person.
Hmm.
But this one, like you said, it's just I, I wasn't bored. I'll say that, and I'm
It's
not trying
true.
to say this as promoting it in any way,
Yeah.
but I can at least say like I wasn't bored at any point during this movie. not in a good way. And
Well, no, and that kind of like, there's a difference. A boring movie is a really bad movie, and I did laugh a few times during this movie, and it's crazy because usually I don't care about social problems in a movie. Like if a movie's socially wrong, sometimes it's easy to overlook. It's kind of like, whatever. It's the time period it was made in or something like that. But this one is just like, there's something about this movie really rubbed me the wrong way.
I think what probably rubbed me the wrong way. It was just kind of like you with the trigger warning in the end. At the end, it's like they were consciously like trying to like say like, oh, we're doing something like doing a message here, and I feel like they thought they were
Hmm.
doing something, but they just completely missed the mark whatsoever. Like I could see somebody just being like, what if child abuse drove a child to become like a deranged murderer type
Yes,
of thing?
yeah, but they completely missed the mark on that.
And just the fact too, like when he's in this house, he seems really happy and this relationship
Hmm.
between this family is actually going well.
Hmm.
And it's not like we don't start seeing like the cracks in that until like the environment that he was put in changes.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like I said, it's like he's driven once again. Like if he had just had a stable home life with and nothing had ever changed, it probably wouldn't have ended that way. But because
No.
his parents were awful people and they decided to adopt a second child
Hmm.
like
And,
right away.
and they would have learned that if they looked into this child's history, but they were so negligent that they were like, no, we don't need to see his history. No, it's not important to him. And they just would assume that's a child that's jumped around from foster home to foster home would be okay with something like that, which obviously he wouldn't. So it's just
No.
but they're obviously painted as like maybe not heroes, but painted as like bystanders, like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to us, even though it was completely in their power. I would have much rather had a good son psychopath kid movie. I feel like that would have been better than what they go for here, where it's a child driven to murder.
Yeah, I totally agree. It would have been something like, oh, like he was born evil or
Yeah,
something like
like The
that.
Omen or something. Like that's fun. This isn't fun. This is a child abuse going way too far. But the movie paints
Yeah,
it like it's fun.
yeah, I agree. I think we both give it a huge not recommend.
No, don't watch this movie.
So actively avoid this one. But that's going to do it for this one. So, Nathan, what are we going to be talking about next time?
Next time we are going to be talking about The Little Shop of Horrors, the 1960 version, and that one is streaming over on Tubi.
All right. I actually just recently watched the 80s version, so this
Oh,
will be good timing.
perfect timing. Have you ever seen the original?
I have not, so
All
this will be a
right.
treat.
Perfect.
I can't wait to see Jack Nicholson. But anyway,
And Steve Martin.
we are going to be talking about the movie Critters, and that is on Tubi.
Ritters. Okay, interesting. I'm excited to watch that.
Yep. So if you have any thoughts and opinions, please email us over at Drive and Double Feature Podcast at gmail.com. Also check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Drive and Double Feature Podcast, and YouTube, youtube.com/Drive and Double Feature Podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.